Good morning, everyone. So glad that you could join us today for some of this important information that will be very helpful to you. Ed Bartling here, internal wholesaler with Financial Markets. Financial Markets, we are here for your life. First, I want to, on behalf of Financial Markets, want to thank you so much for a terrific start in 2021. Without your business, we know that isn't possible. So again, I really would like to thank you for your business. A couple of housekeeping. We've all been muted. And so if you've got a question during the presentation today, be sure to go ahead and use the GoToWebinar question area down to the bottom, kind of where it says chat there. You can put your questions there, and we'll try to be sure to address those for you. This morning, the presentation, keep this in mind if you would. Blessed are they who ease the pain of misfortune, for they shall be called insurance agents. Yes, that's succession planning. Sometimes it doesn't go as smooth, but with your assistance, you can smooth out those rough edges and indeed ease the pain of misfortune. Michelle Tish, CLU, ChFC, Regional Vice President of Life Brokerage Plans with the Financial Markets Group, will be our presenter this morning. She is a financial services professional with over 25 years of senior sales management experience and the proven ability to meet sales objectives. Michelle has great experience in working with offices and their producers to increase sales and productivity. Michelle has worked in a variety of capacities with the principal throughout the years, including managing the Alliance Management Group for independent life distribution and product and business solution marketing. These roles have given Michelle expertise in managing distribution relationships, supporting business concepts, developing effective sales ideas, and leveraging product strengths. A native of Iowa, Michelle received her degree from the University of Northern Iowa in financial markets. Michelle has earned the Chartered Life Underwriter and Chartered Financial Consultant designation through the American College. She is a registered representative and holds her Series 6763 and Life and Health licenses and is a registered principal. Boy, Michelle, that's more degrees than a thermometer. She and her husband are empty nesters as their two daughters are on their own. Sweet news there. Without further ado, I'd like to introduce you to Michelle Tish, but first, keep in mind this, folks, we will be giving away one $50 Amazon gift card, and that's going to be given at the conclusion of this session, and you must be present. Michelle, please enlighten us.
Well, thank you so much, Ed, and good morning to everyone out there. I want to thank Ed and the team at Financial Markets for inviting me to be here today. I'm very excited to share some ideas on succession planning. We'll talk about some tools and ideas that have proven to be successful at helping business owners with those smooth transitions, as Ed was talking about. My goal today is to get you to think about one or two business owners that you would like to reach out to regarding business succession planning. We'll talk about some different tools and things that might help you with that approach, but be thinking as we go through this of a few people that you might contact. I do appreciate questions, so please do enter any questions that you have in that chat box. I do want to make sure that I'm answering everything that you'd like to hear. And as always, you can always follow up with your internal wholesaler at Financial Markets with any questions after the session. So when you think about business owners today, they have a lot on their plate. Business owners are concerned about their health, their family, their employees, and their customers. So they have to worry about all of that, and can they stay open given all of the rules and cash flow and things that are going on? And now they have additional questions about the new PPP money that's being provided. Obviously this just went into effect, and there's a lot of questions on, should I apply for it? Will I even qualify? How do I make sure it's forgiven? And Principal has a number of tools available to help business owners kind of sort through those questions and determine if they could qualify and for how much, and also how do they make sure that they're accounting for everything the most appropriately so that it has a good chance of being forgiven at the end. Your Financial Markets Internal can send you links to all of that information, but it's proven to be a great value add to business owners. They really appreciate getting that information. But probably the top question on business owners' minds right now is the same question everyone in the world is asking themselves. What if? What if I'm not here tomorrow? Have I done the right planning to make sure that my business and my family are taken care of? And as business owners think that through, it generally leads to business succession discussions. Have they made the right plans to make sure they can have that smooth transition to the next level? And so we have had a lot of discussions with business owners, especially over the last 6 months, but even 12, regarding transition and succession plans. And when you think about business owners, about half of the business owners out there have some type of business succession or buy-sell plan, and half don't. So clearly the half that don't have any plan need to do some planning. They are in desperate need, actually, to put something in place to say what will happen to their business if they aren't there. A lot of single business owners think they don't really need to do that, that there isn't anything there to worry about. But the reality is if they don't have something written down, some plan in place, they're leaving it to their family, who may not have anything to do with the business. They may not know anything about the business. So the only option they're leaving their family is to shut the business down, basically. So by not having a plan, they've defaulted to a plan. So no matter how many owners there are, how large a business is, they should have some type of a plan in place. The other half do have a plan in place. And so they think they're taken care of, but in reality, sometimes those businesses are in worse shape than a business owner that has no plan. Because even though they've outlined some of the things that they want to have happen, most of the time those plans don't necessarily align with what the business owners truly want to have happen. We've seen this time and time again. And if they have a plan and it's written down, it is a legally binding contract. So even if it doesn't portray what the business owner wants to happen, it will happen the way it's written. One of the things that we've discovered as we've worked with business owners is about 30% of the buy-sell agreements that we review don't have a mandatory buyout trigger at death. And when you think about buy-sells, usually the reason that people put one in place is, if I were to pass away, what would happen to my business? And not having a mandatory buyout means there's no direction. I mean, there's a path that they could go down, but it's optional. And at death, you really don't want an optional trigger there. So pointing that out to a business owner makes them so grateful that you've helped them, kind of sheer up that particular issue that they might have in their planning. Another key thing that we run into all the time with business owners is that if they have any type of funding, first of all, most of them don't have funding at all, but if they have bought life insurance or disability insurance, many times it's not set up the way the agreement reads. This is only 45% of the life insurance policies that we've seen are effectively integrated. The most common issue that we see with those types of plans is they have a cross-purchase buy-sell. So Ed and I are partners, and we agree that if one of us dies, we'll buy out the other one. But we have the company buy the life insurance policy because it's easier just to have the company pay the premiums and own that life insurance. Well, if I die, Ed is responsible to buy out my spouse, but the money was just paid tax-free to the business. And Ed has to figure out how to get the money out of the business to his name personally so that he can buy out my spouse as the agreement dictated. Very easy fix on this, just set up the life insurance the way the agreement is worded, but most plans or many plans are not set up appropriately. Another significant issue is that only 5% of the agreements that we have reviewed have a reasonably accurate value in their buy-sell agreement. which means that 95% of them have a substantially inaccurate value for the business in their buy-sell agreement. So if something were to happen, that buy-sell agreement might be implemented at a very inaccurate number. Now, they might have the ability to do a current valuation and that kind of a thing, but many of them don't. So making sure that they're keeping their buy-sell agreements current with what they want to have happen and what the true value of the business is critical. One other thing that we see that people are just blown away by is that many business owners have gone to the attorney and drafted the buy-sell agreement and then never signed it. We see about 30% of the buy-sell agreements not being signed because they just didn't take that last step. So they have some very expensive paper because it doesn't really do a lot if it doesn't actually do anything if no one has signed it. So you can see that even those business owners that have a buy-sell agreement can have some very significant gaps and need your help. How do we kind of find these discrepancies and help business owners get their plans aligned with what they really want to have happen? It's through our complimentary buy-sell review. With our buy-sell review, you would be working with a business owner that has a buy-sell agreement, send it in to us, and we will have our attorneys in our advanced solutions area put together a summary for them. And it's usually about 15 pages, so it's a pretty in-depth summary. The goal of the summary is to make sure that we get the business to the right person at the right time for the right amount, and to make sure that they have the funding in place to make that happen. So we will go through that agreement and say, this is the type of plan it is. Maybe it is a cross purchase. This is how it's structured. And here's some gaps or some things that you might want to think about to make sure that your plan does align with what you want to have happen. And one of the pages that I really like is the purchase and sales events page, because it lays out all of the different triggers that really should be included in a buy-sell plan. Many business owners put together a buy-sell plan and it may cover only death, or it may cover death and disability. But as we go through the different things that can happen to a business that can impact the ability of that business to continue into the future, we'll go through all these different items. Divorce of one of the owners is a very common issue that really impacts the business, and having a plan in place in case that were to happen could be critical to a business. Similarly, bankruptcy of one of the owners, just separation of service, or one of the business owners saying, I want to leave, I'm just done doing this. So all of those things are things that we bring up. And we talk about, the ways that you can basically pre-fund some of those. Usually involves a sinking fund and leads us to a discussion of potentially using permanent life insurance versus just term insurance in these types of sales. So it's an excellent service, and business owners are incredibly appreciative of the fact that you brought these things to their attention, because a business owner who has a buy-sell plan thinks that they've taken care of everything. They think they're in a good spot, and by showing them that they might just need to do a few things to true up their agreement, they again appreciate it significantly. The other service that we provide along with the buy-sell review is the complimentary informal business valuation. And this is done for business owners that are having a buy-sell review done to make sure that the value of the business that they're representing in the agreement is accurate. And it can be done for business owners that don't have a buy-sell agreement that are interested in doing buy-sell planning. Because if you're talking with a business owner about putting in some type of a buy-sell agreement, the key thing that they need to know before you can start that process is, what's a good value for my business? And so we've been putting these business valuations together, or offering this service, for I think 6 or 7 years now. And we do about 2,000 valuations each year on a complimentary basis. They have been incredibly effective at helping business owners get started with their planning process and putting buy-sell plans in place. We see sales between the buy-sell review and the business valuation, that the services that we're providing, we see business owners taking action and buying either life insurance or disability insurance about 30 or 35% of the time after we have gone through this. So that's about a 1/3 of the time you would see a potential sale coming from this service that you're providing. The reason I think that they're so effective is if you put something in front of the business owner that shows that his or her business is worth 3 million, 5 million, 10 million, even 1 million, it's a big number to that business owner and it's very important to them. It's a huge part of their net worth. And by showing them what the value is and then talking about the different planning items they might want to consider, they realize they really do need to cover that asset or protect that asset. And I think that's why we have seen such good success rates coming off of these tools. So usually the key question that I get asked are, well, what are the kinds of prospects we should be talking to? Who are the best types of people to work with on these types of plans? And probably the number one indicator of do you have a prospect who is likely going to take action and put something in place from these types of tools is the length of service or the length of time they've been in existence. So businesses that have been in existence around 10 years or more are much more likely to implement some type of a solution. And the reason is they just are more stable. They've got the cash flow to be able to commit the resources to protect their business. So that's the number one thing. Another thing to look for is their net and gross revenue. So gross receipts do need to be at least $1 million to have the business valuation completed. And we say up to 10 million, but we have valued businesses that have 150 million in gross revenue. So there's really no top cap. It's just that the majority come in between that 1 million and 10 million range. When you're talking about different types of industries, there are some industries that work very well, especially for the valuation. The top industries right now that we're seeing, number one is construction. Construction is booming. I'm not sure why. We are in a pandemic, but construction seems to keep moving along at a very rapid rate. And we have had a lot of construction companies come in and complete the valuation or the buy-sell review and then implement some solutions. They're doing very well. Manufacturing also is another one that fits very well with a business valuation. And then professional services, which is a huge category. That would cover doctors, dentists, attorneys, CPAs, engineers, high-tech firms, scientific firms. All of those would fall into the professional services category. Those are excellent types of candidates to talk to about these services. We can actually provide these services for many other types of businesses. We've seen a lot of success, for example, with car dealerships or other types of retail type shops or wholesale or transport. But there are a few types of firms that don't work, and those are represented on the right side there. Things like farms and ranches or real estate holding companies where it really is the asset that's the value of the business. We can't value those. You can see some of the others there. Unfortunately, we can't value financial services firms. And we do need firms to be at least 3 years old, have 3 full years of financials to be able to complete the valuation. The key one that we cannot provide are businesses that are looking to sell to a third party. And those businesses really should have a formal valuation done. We don't really want the liability of them using our valuation to sell to a third party, and you probably don't want them using that from a liability perspective either. But if they're looking to sell internally or to a child, many times we can help them with a lot of the planning that they might need to do there. So one of the other questions I get is, how do you start the conversation with a business owner? How do you get them to agree to go through this process? And right now, probably the number one question that you can ask is simply, what would happen to your business if you weren't here tomorrow, or to your family? Have you done the planning that you need to do? Do you have a buy-sell plan? And, if the business owner says, yeah, I have one, it's right here, I have it in the drawer, we did this 10 years ago, let them know that you can offer a complimentary service that will help them make sure that that plan still meets their current needs. Just like any other plan that you do, we recommend that the buy-sell plans be updated and reviewed probably every 3 to 4 years. So if they haven't had it reviewed in 3 to 4 years, it is a great opportunity to do that. The other questions that you can ask is, what role will your business play in your retirement plan? Business owners are notorious for saying, my business is my retirement. That's how I'm going to either sell it or I'm going to pull revenue from my business to supplement my retirement. But the reality is that's as far as they've gotten, is they've made the statement that their business is their retirement. They might be thinking some certain things, but they have not put a plan in place to monetize their business at retirement. And so just letting them know that you could help them figure out how exactly they're going to monetize their business at retirement, who they're going to sell to, how they're going to sell it, at what value are you going to sell it, because this might be 10 years down the road, but it's never too early for that business owner to start planning. In fact, the earlier they start planning, the more we're able to help them. Many business owners end up selling to an internal party, whether that's a key person or a child. And if they start earlier in the planning process, we're going to be able to help them make sure that that person might have enough for a down payment to buy them out, and that they're protected in case that person wants to leave or maybe passes away. If that person were to pass away, their buyer just left and they are kind of out in the dark and have to start over. But having some life insurance on that person might help them through that transition. So lots of different discussions that come up as we go through this, but these are some of the questions that just get that ball rolling. And just letting them know that if they're interested in doing buy-sell planning, whether it's reviewing their existing plan or starting from scratch, if they just want to start a plan, we can help them with that, whether it's the buy-sell review or the business valuation. The process is really easy. Once the business owner has agreed that, yeah, that makes sense, I think I probably should have someone take a look at my buy-sell agreement, an independent third party, or they say, yeah, I really need to do that planning, and here is what you need to do a valuation. We really make it very simple. There is a one-page fact finder that you would complete, probably about a dozen questions. Then you would get that along with 3 years financials to us and your financial markets internal, so that internal wholesaler, so that they can kind of help through the process as well. So we need 3 years financials. Most of the time we get tax returns, which work really well, but we can use balance sheets and P&Ls if they would like to send those in. If you're just doing the valuation, it's about a 5 to 8 business day turnaround time, which is very, very quick in the industry. If they have a buy-sell agreement, then you would obviously send in that same fact finder along with their plan document, their actual buy-sell agreement, and information on any insurance that they have. Again, we just want to make sure that it's owned properly and they have the right amounts. Those do take a little bit longer because they're putting together a specific plan for that particular business owner and reviewing their agreement. So that's about a 15 to 20 business day turnaround time. So when these are complete, we will send these out to you, whether it's the valuation and or the buy-sell review, and send that out to you. And then we will reach out to set up a call. And this is a service that has really helped turn these proposals into sales and true opportunities, because the call that we have is ideally with you, your client, and your financial markets internal wholesaler, and me and or my wholesaler, internal wholesaler. So we would have a conversation with the business owner about the valuation. How did we come up with this value? What were the inputs that we used? And clearly we're taking the information directly from their financials, but we talk through why we used one particular rate or value versus another. And the goal of the call is, number one, to get the business owner to agree that that value makes sense from a business valuation perspective, because once they agree that value makes sense, then they're ready to take action. Then they're going to realize they need to protect that value. And we'll talk about some of the different ways that they could look at protecting that value depending upon their scenario. You know, they probably need to look at buy-sell planning, but if they're looking to sell to an internal key person, that's a very different conversation than if there are currently 3 partners in the business. We'll have that conversation with everyone on the line, talk about the different structures and solutions that could come into play, and really just kind of tee it up for that next discussion, which is a sales discussion. Clearly, one of the things that we want to do is to make sure that the business has the right funding to match their needs. And in the past, you know, we've talked a lot about term insurance in these scenarios, but one of the key questions we get from business owners as we talk through the valuation is they say, you know, how can I buy life insurance that's going to keep up with my increasing business value? And in the past, we haven't had anything that will do that, but we just released a new product that has a business value increase rider. The UL Provider Edge is a current assumption UL that has extended no lapse guarantees to age 100, so it's a phenomenal fit for these types of sales. And it does increase the face amount based on the increases in the business value with no evidence of insurability. This is an example of how it works. It's on a 3-year cycle. So we started with $1 million face amount and business value. The first 2 years, it's an automatic 5% increase on the face amount. Premium increases to keep that death benefit and that plan or the policy in line with what it was designed to do. In this situation, we had the extended no lapse guarantee to 100 on there. So we increase the premium, which is fully commissionable to you. We also would have the 3rd year is a true up year. So in that year, the client would come in and have a complimentary business valuation done with our advanced solutions. And then we would use that value to true up the value of the business in the base amount. So in this situation, we assume the max increase of 30% over the 3 years to our 1.3 million face amount. Premium went up again, and that is a commissionable premium. We went through 3 cycles in this scenario, and you can see that that total increase in face amount was $1.1 million, where the original face amount was just $1 million. So we have increases more than the original face. The increased commissionable premium is $15,800, which is again higher than that initial premium. It's a win-win for the business owner and for you as the advisor, because it does create additional commissionable premium. But more importantly, it keeps that base amount and death benefit in line with the true value of their business, which business owners really appreciate. To make a good story even better, we can make it easy from an underwriting perspective. Principal has expanded our accelerated underwriting limits quite a bit in the last month or so. So Principal is the first to market with accelerated underwriting, and we have had tremendous success. We see about 50% of the people that apply for accelerated underwriting getting approved with no labs, exams, or APSs. And that is really the goal of accelerated underwriting, is to get those people that are fairly healthy, they don't have any major health impairments, through the process without them having to do additional labs or exams. And so as we expanded accelerated underwriting, we kept that same goal of getting as many people through without labs or exams as possible. And so the increased amounts are anywhere from $2.5 million to $3 million that clients could get without having a new exam or labs. Now, some of those are, it would require the use of digital health data. Digital health data is really just that the client has had an exam within the last 12 or 24 months that included lab work, that they had blood drawn and there were things run off of the tests were run off the blood. So we would gather that information to underwrite in these scenarios if they have that. But even if they don't have those digital health data records available, we're still able to get an increased amount available to them without any exams or underwriting. So you can see ages 18 to 40 can get up to $3 million of coverage without using any digital health data at all. Ages 41 to 50 can get up to 2 million without digital health data, and 51 to 60 can get $1 million. So very, very strong parameters. I think many of the clients that you work with would fall into these accelerated underwriting guidelines. And one thing to note is that this is for permanent as well as term cases. So your cases can flow through the accelerated underwriting process regardless of if they're permanent or term policies. I hope that as I've gone through this, this brought up some ideas of business owners that you work with that would be interested in having a discussion about business succession planning. Maybe they've mentioned something to you, or you just know that this is probably top of mind to them. Definitely reach out to those folks, have a conversation with them about planning, and offer up these tools if it makes sense for them. We would be glad to work with you through your financial markets internal wholesaler. Ed, I wanted to see if you had any questions. Were there any in the chat box?
Well, Michelle, is there any particular resources that you have for the agricultural, the farmers and ranchers?
Great question, because I did point out that the business valuation itself is not a good fit for farmers and ranchers, but the reality is farmers and ranchers know exactly what their business is worth. They had coffee at the coffee shop this morning probably, and we're talking with others in their area about who has sold for what price per acre. So we do have a very robust tool available to farmers and ranchers where basically they're providing that information to us. And then we put together a report and a proposal that talks about the different planning needs that they would have. Basically, they have the same planning needs that any business owner has: protecting the value of the business, making sure that the farm and ranch goes to the right person at the right time at the right price. They may have inheritance equalization issues, which is very, very common with farmers and ranchers. One child is working with them on the farm, others are not, other children are not. And so they need to figure out how to be equitable. And we have a proposal that works very similarly where you provide some input information. We'll put together the proposal and we will be on the line with you as you present that to your clients and talk about the different issues that they may need to look at from a planning perspective. So short answer, yes, but I gave a very long answer.
No, very good, very thorough there. So, I heard you use more than once the word complementary. It's complementary to the agent, the advisor also?
Yes, absolutely. We provide these services to complementary to the client and to the advisor. The key thing that we ask is that if there are any insurance opportunities that come up through this discussion, whether that's life insurance, disability, that Principal is the carrier that you look at for those. We do offer a very complete, comprehensive, and competitive product portfolio, both on the life and the disability side, and we would be glad to work with you on any of these sales. So like I said, we're seeing sales at about 30 to 35% of the time that we do the business valuation and buy-sell review. So it's been very, very successful.
I get a feel too that there's kind of at these different stages, definitely there's being built this relationship, that it's not put through a computer and we get this computerized report. That you said that you or your internal would be on the call with, along with those advisors that you have at Principal. Is that kind of the right assumption on my part?
Absolutely. We would. Our preferred approach is that when we send out the valuation and buy-sell review, that we set up that call where it is the business owner and the advisor, as well as the financial markets internal, and then the advanced solution person who put the proposal together, and either myself or my internal here at Principal to just talk about the different planning things they may want to consider as they look at the value of their business and their current buy-sell agreement. What are some of the gaps that they have? And like I said, the discussion can vary significantly. It might be a single business owner who, many times single business owners don't think that they need to do this type of planning. They think when they're gone, their business is gone. And sometimes that is the case. Most of the time it's not. Most of the time they could put into play a type of plan that will protect their family and basically help the business transition to someone else. So the worst thing to have happen is to have one of those business owner clients that thinks that their business is just going to die when they could have sold it for a very significant amount, and their family doesn't get any of that value that they've worked incredibly hard to build up over years. So we have that conversation with them about the different ways that they could either find a buyer or even do what we call a no sell buy sell, which is basically having the business go into a professional trust and having that trustee manage the business until they can sell it. But the trust buys the business, so the family gets the money, they're out of the picture, they don't have to worry about it at all, and this professional trustee then manages the business until they can sell it. So there are many solutions available, and it's fun to work with business owners and help them figure out what the right solution is.
Follow-up question. With that relationship being built and you getting that information, do you that team act as an ambassador for us as we move over to underwriting? And sometimes underwriting will ask the question, well, how did you arrive at that face amount? Or we've already done the the work with you and discovered what the need was. Do you go over and help guide that to that underwriting department?
That is a great question. So if you have the complimentary business valuation done with us, that does justify the face amount for underwriters. So we would make sure, as you said, that the underwriter has a copy of that business valuation. And if they have that, then there aren't any additional financial requirements that are needed to justify that. But there are a lot of other questions that can happen along the way, and we definitely are the advocate or the ambassador, as you said, for that particular case. So we will help you throughout the sales process, not just that first conversation. Certainly, that is a key one in laying out the valuation and the buy-sell review and what the different needs might be. But as you're working through that with a business owner, if you determine that they need to have a loan split dollar type of solutions, we'll put together all of the illustrations as well as proposals, get those to you, and we can be on the call with you as you explain those to the client if that would be helpful. We'll work with you as you get those clients underwritten, and then we'll get them to the business market administration area. We do offer a very unique service, which is providing plan level administration on every business plan that we sell. And the key reason is, when a business owner buys one of these policies, they aren't really buying a life insurance policy in their mind. They're buying a solution to their business succession needs. And that solution might be a term policy, it might be the new UL Provider Edge, but no matter what the product is, it will go into our business market administration area where there will be an administrator assigned to them that will provide annual plan level reports that show all the values and remind them why they bought this life insurance. If it is set up as a loan split dollar, for example, we will provide the loan split dollar values, the interest that needs to be included in the employee's W-2 income. So we do all of this on a complimentary basis to make sure that the plan not only meets the business owner's needs today, but into the future as well.
Very good. I want to thank you very much for the presentation today. I think you folks out there today can see why when we are here for your life, we definitely look at Principal for that business need there. During the presentation, there were a couple brochures that you saw there briefly. If you'd like a complimentary copy of that, I'd be contacting my internal wholesaler, and they can be sure to get that to you. Definitely, Principal can be on your radar screen to finish up the March Madness and for the things to come there. Again, Michelle, thank you very much. Well, we're getting towards the end here, so now I'm going to turn it over to Neil Sperling for that awaited $50 Amazon gift card. Neil?
All right. Thank you, Michelle. Thank you, Ed. There was one other question that just came in, Ed, and the question is the increase in coverage automatic or optional? I'm guessing that relates to the automatic increase rider on the new product.
Yes, that's a great question. Yes, so the 5% increases are automatic, and the business owner has to take those in order to keep the ability to have that rider. In the third year, when we do the complimentary business valuation, again, they would need to take any increases that would be available to them. But if no increases are available, we won't drop the rider. We would just start over again with the 5% increases in year 4. So we will coordinate with the business owner to get that business valuation completed, but it is kind of an automatic process, but they do need to keep taking those in order to keep the rider.
And if they reject an increase perhaps in year 2, what's the consequence, or can they reject it in year 2?
If they do reject it, then they won't get any further increases offered to them.
Okay, so it's kind of a negative consent. If they don't act by canceling the rider or the increase, you'll automatically increase it and adjust the premium appropriately.
Right. We'll send that out to them. We'll send them a statement that says, based on the 5% increase, here's your new death benefit and your new premium. And if they pay that increased premium, you're right, it's a negative consent. Basically, they've agreed to take that 5%. And then in the third year, they would need to go through the business valuation process.
Great. Yeah, that's been a common question over the years, and I'm just so glad to see that you folks have come out with that. I mean, just a couple comments before we do the drawing. Folks, we have some fantastic insurance companies at Financial Markets. We've got the lowest cost companies out there. We've got the highest quality product companies out there. Principal's got the products. Their pricing is very competitive, but look at all the extra stuff that they'll do for you in helping secure those business customers. I mean, really, you're going with the experts here. They have the experts in this field. You don't have to be an expert on it. Just bring the clients. Your internal wholesaler will help you walk through the process. We'll get the experts on the phone. What a fantastic opportunity while maintaining your independence. You're not becoming a career agent with Principal, but holy smokes, they're treating you like a career agent with all the help that they're giving you. All right, so all of the folks that are on the call, their names have been put in the hat. If you've been on our drawings before, we put all the names in the hat. This thing shuffles it, and we will pick a winner. So drum roll, please. And that was the drum roll in your head. All right. And it looks like Norman Lyon is the person drawn. Let me make sure Norman's still on the call, and he is. So congratulations, Norman. And I'll turn it back over to Ed Bartling.
Indeed, indeed. Thank you so much, Norm, and congratulations to you. And folks, look forward to you getting information on our next webinar, which will be then in April. And that's also going to be the drawing for the prize for March Madness. So look forward to seeing everyone there. And as things come up, please don't hesitate to contact your internal wholesaler. Remember, we're here for your life. Thank you and have a good day.